This week in Jamaica Now, dismissed NCB senior manager pleads guilty to multi-million-dollar fraud. How Andrea Gordon broke down in tears when she was busted. Police identify person of interest in gruesome video-recorded murder of a 56-year-old landscaper. Death after a burial. Major probe launched into fatal attack on a bus filled with mourners. Then,
we could have deaths going as much as 180 deaths that could occur in a week.
an ominous warning why Jamaica must stave off a third wave of the coronavirus. Opposition turns up the pressure on the George Wright affair. It has now retabled an impeachment bill. And 211 child abuse helpline coming for Jamaica. I'm Damian Mitchell, and this is Jamaica Now. Dismissed National Commercial Bank senior manager Andrea Gordon is now awaiting sentencing after pleading guilty in a multi-million-dollar fraud rap between 2017 and 2020. Gordon has conceded that over the period she stole $34 million from the bank to which she had been employed for 30 years. NCB investigators, however, say they have traced $111 million in suspicious transactions linked to her. In court on Thursday, prosecutors said when Gordon was busted last June, she broke down in front of investigators. Gordon was being paid $11.1 million a year. She reportedly told investigators that her back was against the wall. "It is really bad," she told them last year. The 52-year-old mother of three also told investigators that she started stealing from the bank in 2017 to help a cousin who had cancer after she ran into financial difficulties while renovating her house. Gordon transferred the money to her accounts and those of relatives, including her children and spouse, as well as to familiar customers. The Financial Investigations Division has indicated it will be seeking a forfeiture order for the ill-gotten gain. Meanwhile, Gordon's son, Odain French, and her spouse, Lloyd French, are also facing fraud-related charges. They are to return to the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court on June 24. They remain on bail. The police have identified a person of interest in connection with Wednesday's video-recorded murder of a man in Harborview, St. Andrew. 56-year-old landscaper Everton Peart was shot dead in the vicinity of 64 Melbrook Heights in Harborview. Peart is from Caribbean Terrace, also in Harborview. As he lay bloodied on the road, the shooter recorded himself firing 5 bullets into Peart's head. Residents heard the explosions around 10 a.m. and summoned the police. Police investigators are probing a deadly attack near the Meadowrace Memorial Gardens in St. Catherine on Thursday evening. Gunmen shot up a Toyota Coaster bus loaded with mourners leaving a burial. 2 women were shot dead while other people, including a child, were injured. The attackers were not immediately identified. Eyewitnesses say during the shooting, the bus crashed into a utility pole.
As the bus moved off, went up on the side. When we can't see the man them over there, so, but not me, none of them not come from boy, I mean, no. Just about 3 to 4 men just come off a little ill thing like towards the bus, everybody have one gun. And it's something for that's all I see. And just start to cover, everybody start panic and as if I sink, the bus I sink.
So the driver crashed it in
and whenever I'm panicking, I'll take this out, but he just disappears.
Health officials are warning that there could be up to 180 deaths in the peak week of the third wave of the coronavirus in Jamaica. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Jacqueline Bisesa McKenzie says it is therefore important that people obey the COVID protocols even while cases continue to decline.
And what will a third wave look like? Our starting point is not going to be as low as it was in August last year or even in December of last year. We're going to have higher starting points that are going to result in possibly very, very high rates, where we could have the possibility of as much as 10,700 cases in the peak week compared to 4,000 cases in the peak week of the second wave and just over 1,000 cases in the peak week of the first wave.
According to Bisesa McKenzie, the lockdown measures have been effective against COVID-19, which has killed 770 Jamaicans so far. Meanwhile, the daily case count, bed occupancy, and deaths have been trending down. Opposition leader Mark Golding has tabled a private member's bill on impeachment. The private bill is being introduced amid intense debate and public outcry about a video in which a man said to be the Westmoreland Central MP, George Wright, was seen abusing a woman. Since the video went viral, Wright has taken leave of absence from the House. However, a police probe stalled after he and his common-law partner, Tanisha Singh, refused to provide a statement to investigators. In the House of Representatives this week, the Speaker of the House said Wright was granted leave of absence to attend to urgent personal matters. Still in the Parliament, opposition Senator Lambert Brown has withdrawn his controversial pronouncement that he would push jungle justice if the rule of law breaks down and females in his immediate family were sexually abused or assaulted. In a statement during Friday's sitting of the Senate, Brown said his declaration was made in the wrong forum. He also maintained that it was his personal view.
I urge no one else to act on those views. Neither do I urge such personal views as public policy. They remain my personal views. However, on reflection, I accept that the Senate was not the place to expound such a view. My comment was made in the wrong forum. I therefore withdraw it from this forum.
Last week, Friday, during a heated debate in the Senate over the George Wright assault saga, Brown indicated that anyone who violates his daughter or any other female member of his family would have to face the consequences that would flow from him in the absence of the rule of law. The Education Ministry is setting up a dedicated helpline for persons to report incidents of children being abused or neglected. The number to call is 211. The official launch is set for this month, which is being recognized as Child Month. Education Minister Fable Williams said the helpline would be staffed by professionals who would give proper guidance and information to callers. According to Williams, greater public awareness and action are needed to arrest the scourge of child abuse. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Jamaica Gleaner and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. Like this video on our YouTube page, subscribe today and turn on your notifications. I'm Damion Mitchell, and before we go, tributes for journalist Michael Sharp as he is laid to rest following a virtual celebration of his life and work.
And Patrick Anderson has sports.
It's indeed a tough one. Another sad loss for journalism, another sad loss for the RGR Gleaner Communication Group.
From the very first minute that he entered the RGR newsroom, it was easy to recognize that Michael Sharp was no ordinary journalist.
Sharp was like a Swiss Army knife in the media landscape, meaning that he had something to offer in all aspects of media.
I have had the pleasure of knowing Mr. Sharp for almost a little over a decade, because I know him before I started working here.
A mentor, a friend, a boss, but more important, a leader.
I'm gonna miss my brother. You know, coming to Jamaica will be different without him. But I'm glad that you had him all these years, and thank you for loving him back.